Morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. How's everybody today? Everybody good? All right. So our congregational theme this year is we are family. And so I think that part of that, part of us being family is we sort of need to know who each other, we need to know one another, right? That would help. So as we go through the class and we continue to discuss things, I'm going to ask that you just give us your name so we know who you are. All right? So my name's Terry Brown. I don't want anybody to, I shouldn't assume that everyone knows that. My name is Terry Brown. That's my wife sitting right there. Raise your hand. That's my wife, Patty Brown. And so at least we got two names down. All right? And so as we talk this morning, we'll just we'll continue to introduce ourselves to one another. I was told that I need to remember that when folks ask questions, to repeat the questions. So I'm going to ask if you will remind me to do that because it's being recorded. And so when people go back to listen to the recording, they have no idea what I'm talking about because they didn't hear the question. Okay? So I'll ask you to remind me to do that. All right, so we're going to continue today. Last week we started our conversation on walking the walk. And so we had a very vibrant conversation about the other part of that, which is talking the talk, and that our walk and our talk need to be consistent. And so we talked about what that means when it's not consistent and what we get called when our walk and our talk don't agree. And so today what we want to do is we want to start on our journey. And so whether you're walking to the refrigerator, whether you're walking across the street, or whether you're walking 10,000 miles, it all starts the same way. All right, how does it start? The first step. All right? And so today we're going to talk about what that first step looks like. Let's go over to let's go to 2 Corinthians 5. And we're going to be reading verses 1 through 8. 2 Corinthians 5, verses 1 through 8. And if somebody has that, I'd love for you to go ahead and read that. All right. Seems like a good step. Step 1. Walking in what? You just read it. For we walk by faith. It's a big one. All right. Seems like a good place for us to start. Why don't we try to figure out what faith is? Somebody tell me what you think faith is. Somebody. I hear mumblings. What is faith? All right, so we just gonna violate the rule. Ain't nobody gonna say their name. Everybody's just gonna start talking. All right. Okay, no problem. All right. I'm gonna go over here to the brother in the dark blue jacket and ask him, "What's your name, sir?" Brother Howard Harrison. And what do you say faith is? Okay, so the comment is that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That seems almost biblical. Where'd you get that from? Okay, Hebrews 11:1. So that's a biblical definition, right? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. All right? I saw another hand. What's your name, sir? Ted Waters. Yes, sir. Oh, Tech Waters. Okay. Were you named after Georgia Tech? Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Okay, all right, all right. Did you have a different definition, or were you going to say the same thing? Go ahead. Okay. 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 So text says that faith is the point where your decision leads to a choice. Right? I say that right? Okay. Um, Now we've got Connie in here. Connie, what does Terry always say faith is? He said it this morning. Right. Not believing in God. All right. So sometimes when we talk about faith, some folks will say, "Oh, faith is just believing in God," and that's a level of faith. And then Terry talks about that faith is at another level, right? He says that it's believing God, not just believing in Him, but believing what He said, what He promised, and that's sort of this next level. I talked last week that I heard I heard a guy say this a long time ago. I fell in love with it from the moment I heard it. He said that faith is what we do about what we believe. All right, and so that's kind of what you're talking about, Tech, is that when what you believe, what does what you believe lead you to do? And that's sort of how we get to measure what our faith is. Now, Brother Harris went to Hebrews 11. Let's turn over there because we see, Hebrews 11 is like it's like a description of like the Faith Hall of Fame. Like when you read through Hebrews 11, and those are the faith heavy hitters, right? And so if we turn over to Hebrews 11, when we get to verse 1, right, we see what Brother Harris gave us earlier, right? And there was a sister in the back that had the same definition. Where was she? And what's your name? Milady Lou. Melanie? How you spell that? Same as Melanie. Okay, Melanie Lou. And you had the same definition, right? Okay, so Hebrews 1 is what we heard, right? Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. So Hebrews 11 starts with a definition, okay? And we see, by faith you understand. By faith it talks about Abel. And then we get to verse 6, and we have sort of a declaration, right? What does Hebrews 11:6 say? Okay. What's your name, sir, that just read that? That's Michael Coker, right, who just read 11:6. And so again, we know it's more than just believing in, right? Because this says that for he that believes, right, he that believes, or he that comes to God, right, because it's impossible to please him, for he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. And then sort of the rest of Hebrews 11, right? We start off with the definition, we see this declaration, and then the rest of the chapter is basically a demonstration, all right? And what you see is that every person it talks about in Hebrews 11. So it says, let's say if you start with Abel, right? It never talks about what Abel believed. It talks about what Abel did, right? Right? That's how we know what he believed. We know what he believed by what he did. He didn't have to tell us, right? And so we see by faith, Abel offered. He didn't talk about. He just gave a better offering, right? If you go through whether it's Enoch, whether it's Noah, by faith Noah, being divinely warned of things not yet seen, what did Noah do? He moved with godly fear, right? I mean, now that'll wake you up in the middle of the night, right? When's the last time you moved with godly fear? That's a different kind of movement, right? That's not alarm clock movement. That's not nudging movement. That's not moving because the car behind you is blowing its horn at you, right? When's the last time you moved with godly fear? That's why you moved, because you feared God, right? And so, listen, I sometimes I look around. I'm not trying to make eye contact with anybody. It's just I can't look at myself. So if I look at you, it's not because I think you have the problem that I'm talking about at the moment. I've got the problem, but if I walk up here, if I walk around in the mirror, that'll look silly outwards. I'm not going to do that, all right? So just understand that I'm talking to myself. And so it talks about Sarah and Isaac and Jacob and Joseph. And in every one of the paragraphs, it tells us what they did. Now, obviously, who's in this Faith Hall of Fame? Who's the star of the Faith Hall of Fame? Like if you read chapter 11, who's the star of chapter 11? No doubt about it. Who said that? It's Abraham, right? It's Abraham all day long, every day and twice on Sunday. It's Abraham, right? Abraham has a different level of faith, correct? And so if you look at all these folks in Hebrews 11, right? And here's what I want you to ask yourself. How do we know that all of these people had faith? Right? Was it by what they thought? Was it by what they said? Or was it by what they did? Right? Right? Because that's a good point. Who said that? What's your name? Bill. Bill. Hi, Bill. Listen, Bill, that's the only reason I came. Seriously? Right, is to keep you awake. All right. Bill, who's this sitting next to you?
My beautiful wife, Susie.
So Bill and Susie.
Susie and Bill.
Susie and Bill.
How
long you been married?
30-something years. 92.
Okay. See, that's why. There's a secret right there.
Yeah.
It's not Bill and Susie. It's Susie and Bill. Right? Now, if I remember correctly, are both Bill and Susie are retired pilots?
Correct.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Okay. So it is all of the above, right? Because to Tech's point earlier, right, what you think, right, usually dictates how you speak. And how you speak should dictate how you act, right? And so if we think about Abraham, right? So Abraham, I believe someone mentioned Genesis 12. Who said that over here? Who was that? Was that you, Brother Keel? Yes. Well, what's your name, Brother Keel? All right. That's Cecil Keel. Senior, because there's more than one of you. All right. Who's this lovely lady dressed just like you sitting to your left? And that's Mary Keel. Cecil and Mary Keel. Now, if y'all notice them, they always have on, right? I have to keep them away from my wife, because then my wife get the idea that we should be dressed alike too. And I say the Keels have already done that, sweetie. We can't. All right. So, all right. So, Brother Keel, if we go over to let's go to Genesis 12. Let's look at why Abraham is spoken of the way that he is. So Genesis 12, right? And if we, someone get verses 1 through 4 for me in Genesis 12. Who's that reading? Okay, all right. It's Michael Coker reading for those of you who can't hear me. Yes, go ahead.
Now that the Lord has said unto Abraham, out of thy father's house unto a land great nation, and bless thee, and will bless them that bless thee. All these shall all families.
Now stop right there for a second. So God says to Abram at the time, go. Right? Leave. Everything that you're comfortable with, leave. Leave. Just get. Where am I going? To a land. Where's the land? Don't worry about that. I'll show you later. But why? Don't ask me all that. Go. Now, if you go, though, I'm going to bless you. I'm going to bless everybody that looks like you and loves you. I'm going to bless them too. But what you got to do is go. Michael Coker, what does verse 4 say? Stop right there. There are no questions in that verse. There's no. God spoke. Abraham moved. So Abraham departed. Get your hat, get your coat, and leave. I mean, think about if let's say Abram at the time was, Abram had a Susie. And so Abram goes to Susie and says, baby, we're packing up the house. What do you mean you're packing up the house? This is where our family is. Nope, we're leaving. Where are we going? Don't know. Why are we going? Don't care. When are we going? Right now. Rat, R-A-T, rat now. We get your stuff. We got to go. Well, baby, we're both pilots. We've been married 30-something years. Can you at least tell me? No. God said, I don't need nothing else. But know this, Susie, we're going to be blessed. What does that even mean? Don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there. When we get where? Don't know. He didn't tell me that part. This don't seem like a good plan, right? Now, Susie's a pilot. Bill's a pilot. They never move without a plan. They got a whole flight plan. They know everything about that flight from the time they start to the time they land. Throw all that out the window. We moving now. What's the wind like? Don't know. Are there any other planes up there? What time do we take off? Couldn't tell you. What time do we land? Doesn't matter. Which way are we going? Stop asking questions. Crank up the plane. We're leaving. Read verse 4 again, Brother Coker. So Abram departed. How did he depart? See what I'm saying? When the last time you did that? When the last time you didn't ask no questions, you just moved as the Lord has spoken? Nothing. You didn't ask, well, Lord, if you could just send me the, could you send me the navigation information? Could you send me the ways? Just tell me which way we're going so I know how to get there. Nope. You don't need to know how to get there. Get in the car. I'll tell you how to get there. Me. Right? I am how you get there. Your love of faith. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame. Yes, sir, Tech. Mm-hmm. His father, that's right. Mm. That's right. Move again. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. And so, text point is for those of you who are listening is that uh, Abram was moving with his father and his nephew, and they were moving in that direction, and they had set up stake, and that's when God comes to them and tells them to move again, right? They had gotten comfortable. Things are going well, right? And so sometimes think about that. Sometimes are you just comfortable? Yeah, you just get comfortable, right? Too comfortable to move, right? Because we need to move outside of our comfort zones, and that's not comfortable. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's Tech again. This is Tech again talking, just so y'all know. Go ahead, Tech. Mm-hmm.
They were headed to Canaan.
That's right.
Where he's going to go.
Which is where he has designed for him. That's right. That's right. Good point. Mm-hmm. All right. So, did you finish verse 4? Go ahead and finish verse 4. I'm sorry, Michael Coker.
Abram was
75 years old. He's 75 years old, right, when he moves. God tells him that I'm going to give you a son, I'm going to give you a people, and your people will be so numerous they won't be able to be counted. Now, he's 75 when God tells him that. Anybody remember in Genesis 21 when Isaac is born? Anybody remember how old Abram is? 100. How old was he when he promised him that? That's a lot of faith. Now, Lord, you've been talking about this people I'm going to get for 25 years now. Now, some of us, I'm going to look up here so no one thinks I'm looking at them, but some of us have a problem following God for 25 minutes. We can't follow God on the way to work because somebody didn't cut us off. We didn't gave them the middle finger. We cussing in the car. We pounding on our steering wheel. Abraham waited 25 years. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Bill done told Susie that we leaving everything we got because God gonna bless us. And they at this 25 years and ain't seen nothing yet. But where's this baby we gonna get? Don't worry about that. It's coming. Now, when Abraham was 75, how old was Sarah? 65. It's 25 years later. So Abraham's 100. How old is Sarah? 90. God's still talking about babies. Now, let me look up here again, because some of you in the room, well, no one in the room is 90. I hope that's true as I'm looking up in the sky. But some of you that are younger than 90 would flat out laugh if I told you that God was going to give you a baby. Right? Now, Susie is looking at Bill like, you know something. I should just let you go. Because 25 years, you talking about this people we going to get, we ain't got kid the first. At least not together. So we get the kid. Now we have the kid. Let's look at Genesis chapter 22. Now that he's got the kid, Abram is 100, Sarah is 90, and Isaac is born. Now, sometimes I marvel at how much time can pass in a number of chapters, but Isaac is born they talk about that in verse 21. In chapter 21, and in verse 22, we see this happen. Now it came to pass after those things that God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham. He said, here I am. He said, take now your son. Just in case Abraham didn't know which son he was talking about, he said, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I shall tell you. Wait, what? I've been waiting 25 years for this kid. I just got the kid in chapter 21. It's the first verse in 22, and you telling me I only been enjoying the kid for a chapter. It's been one chapter. 21, Isaac is born. 22, verse 1, kill him. This don't seem like this is working out for me like I thought. Now, I can't go tell my wife that. Bill, you can't tell Susie that. You've been waiting 25 years for this baby. You got the baby, and then the next day, God says, go kill that baby. Better not tell her that. You won't make it to 38, right? And so, let's look at what Abraham does. Verse 5. So Abraham rose early in the morning, saddled his donkey, took 2 of his young men with him. He's going to sacrifice his son. I think one of the most powerful verses in all of Scripture is verse number 5. And Abraham said to his young men, stay here with the donkey. The lad and I will go yonder and worship. Y'all know what worship is code for? I'm about to bun him up. That's what worship. What you about to do is go put that boy on some wood, tie him to it, and set him on fire. That's what God told him to do. Would you all please take notice of what Abraham says next? And we will come back to you. Abraham had no doubt. He had no doubt. He's got the wood. He's got the fire. He's got the rope. God has only given him one instruction. Go sacrifice that boy. And Abraham says to his servants, me and the lad are going to leave. Me and the lad are going to come back. That's different. That's a different kind of faith. what makes him believe he's coming back with that boy? Yes, sir. What's your name?
John Hazel.
Hi, John Hadrick.
Because God promised him they would be blessed.
God promised Abraham that Abraham and his seed would be blessed. Is Isaac Abraham's seed?
Yes.
He knows. The fight is fixed. It don't matter what God said. You know why? Because God can't lie. Abraham has no idea how it's going to work out. He just knows it's going to work out. The man then told me that I'm going to have so many people you can't count them. This is the only person I got right now. I can't kill him or I got nothing. Or if I do kill him, that means God just going to give me a whole bunch more. It doesn't matter. I'm going. Oh, here comes Tech. Yes, sir, Tech. This Tech again talking for y'all that don't. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But Abraham couldn't have known that then, right? That hadn't happened. So Tech is saying that let me just, for the people that are listening, Tech is saying that in Hebrews, it talks about that it gives an explanation for how Abraham could have still acted, and the Bible says in Hebrews that he reasoned that God would raise him from the dead. And so Abram believed something that hadn't happened yet. Mm-hmm. That's Jay. Here comes Jay Vitarelli. And Tech, why is God going to have to raise Isaac from the dead? Because Abraham is sure enough going to kill him. That boy is dead. Just because God said so. Right? Hey, there's no negotiation. Abraham doesn't say, come on, man. I just got the boy in chapter 21 and 22. You telling me to kill him? No negotiation. So the fact that he is thinking, well, I guess God gonna raise him from the dead, that's the only way he gonna have to, because I'm gonna kill him. Right? There's some of us in the room that ain't got but one boy. Right? Think so much about that boy, we gave my name. I'm gonna hesitate on that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I tell you, I ain't Abraham. Right? Like if the day after I get TJ, God says kill him. Today, like, can I enjoy him for a week? Right? Dexter, TJ, the only one you got. That's tough. Yes, sir, Jay Vitarelli.
So God said Abraham.
He could have. That's an accountant. That was correct. Correct. Yes. Susie.
They said the lad.
The
was
lad,
15,
that's right.
16.
Right. So even though it's one chapter, it's not one day.
Right,
The boy is
right,
grown. Absolutely.
But, I mean, it's 115 years of watching God fulfill unbelievable promises, everything. I mean, he surely knew of Lot and how the angels pulled Lot out of,
That's right. That's right.
Sodom, Gomorrah. And so he didn't doubt God's faith. Whatever way God was going to do this, it was going to be all right.
That's right.
I guess is what I'm saying is such a great faith was a lifetime of trusting God
That's right.
and building up to such a great task that he had.
That's
to
right.
do.
That's right. That's right. And so the point is, Susie's point is that Abraham's faith wasn't unwarranted, right? He had seen God do miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle. And so, man, whatever, I got it. He's dead. And so now we know what happens. We get down to so Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, I'm at verse 8, and laid it on Isaac, his son. He took the fire in his hand and a knife, and the two of them went together. But Isaac, the boy, he ain't crazy, right? He says, Dad, look, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? Right? Because Isaac's starting to look around like, it's just the two of us. Right? You got the knife, right? What does Abraham say to him? My son, God will provide for himself the lamb for a burnt offering. It's just different kind of faith. Then they came to the place of which God had told them, and Abraham built an altar there and placed the wood in order, and he bound Isaac his son. What do you think Isaac is thinking now? And laid him on the altar upon the wood, and Abraham stretched out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. Blessing he'd been waiting 100 years for. I waited 100 years for this boy. I see some hands. Yes. What's your name? Tony Evans. Yes. Mm-hmm. He did. He accepted his answer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so thank you, Tech. So what she's saying is it's important for us to raise our children right? Because in this scenario, yes, Isaac asked the question, but Isaac trusted his father. Correct. That's a great point. So the point is that Isaac is doing to Abraham the same thing that he sees Abraham do to his heavenly Father, right? If Abraham says it's going to be all right, Isaac believes it's going to be all right, even though he's tied to the stake, right? The wood is there. Dad's got a knife in his hand. So we keep going. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. What's your name? No, what's your name? That's Ruth. Yes, it is. Huh? He said, take your, let me get it for you. At the top, he says, take now your son, your only son, Isaac. Well, he had Ishmael, but, right. There you go. So Ruth's point is that although Abraham may have had another son, which he did, that the promise came through Abraham and his wife, because that's who his legitimate wife, because that's who the promise was made. That's absolutely right. And so we now get to down to verse number 9. And it came to the place, Abraham built an altar, placed the wood in order, he bound Isaac his son, laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And Abraham said the same thing he said to God. Here I am. Right? And he said, do not lay your hand on the lad or do anything to him. For now I know, right? For now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. What have you done lately to cause God to know that you fear him? I'm not asking for an answer for that question. Just think about that. How'd your week go last week? Did you do anything that week where God said, now that right there, she fears me? Or did you just look to God like everybody else in the world? What's peculiar about us? What about our faith helps God know that we fear him? And not just God. Them rascals that we work with. Maybe them rascals that you live with. Them rascals in your neighborhood. How do they know you fear God? That's how they should know. But if you ain't doing no works, and that's not how they know. I mean, they know you get up someplace. They know you get up to go somewhere on Sunday morning. And they see you come back. And as far as they know, what are you doing? So text says that what it should be is they should know by your sacrifice, right? It's sometimes we have to ask ourselves, are we truly sold? Are you sold? Are you sold on this God thing? You know, they say in sales that what a sale is a transfer of belief from one person to another. Are you sold? Because think about it, right? If the most important sale you're going to make is when you sell yourself. How sold are you that God's going to do what he said he's going to do in your life, ultimately? Do you believe that the fight is fixed? Or do you think God needs your help? Are you sold? Right? If you yourself aren't sold, then it's going to be impossible for you to transfer that belief to anybody else. Right? Here's how we know if you're sold. Who have you told? When last time you told anybody what God has done for you and what he's willing to do for them? No. I know you say God bless you when people sneeze. I know you pray over your food. But who have you told? When's the last time you cracked open your Bible with someone and walk them through how to have their sins forgiven. Who have you told? Man, for some of us, that's been a long time, if ever. Are you sold? We know that by who have you told? And lastly, have you been bold? Because now it's not so comfortable. Yeah, this Christian thing ain't in. So now what do? Are you bold when you talk about it? Or do you cower? Just keep it to yourself. It's not politically correct. Can't talk about this at work. You get fired. Can't talk about it in the neighborhood. Can't talk about it. After a while, you just can't talk about it. This is what walking in faith looks like. I said last week, this is the most legitimate re-gifting opportunity we've ever been given. We were only given Christ to give him to somebody else. It's not for you to keep. Stop being selfish. Right? Your sins have been forgiven. Move on. Right? Go help someone else get their sins forgiven. And then someone else get their sins forgiven. Right? It's like Oprah. You get a car and you get a car, right? Let's keeping it to ourselves. That's not walking in faith. Give the car away. Give it away. What are you afraid of? You don't know enough? Right? Or that you don't show enough? Are you afraid because if you start talking about God, someone's going to be like, man, what is he talking about? I know he's not trying to convince me about God. And so this week, as we go through this week, as we try to walk in faith, I'm going to ask it, just tell somebody. Just tell somebody. It doesn't have to be artful. You don't have to have a PowerPoint. Just tell somebody that God so loved the world that he sent his son, who so loved the world that he gave his life so that you could come where he is. Right. That right there. Right? How long did that take? Was that 6 seconds? That means you do that 10 times a minute? 600 times an hour? $144,000 times a day. I'm not asking you to do all that. Once. Just one time. And then next week, maybe we'll do it twice. We'll do 2 6 seconds. We talked about last week, man, walking the walk means getting off your duff. The walk doesn't happen in here. This is not where the walk is. Where you got your suit on, you smelling your best, and you sitting there, you're prim and proper, you're singing the song. No. This walk is Monday through Saturday. Right? There's no pressure in here. There's nothing coming at you. Pressure is in the morning. Pressure is when you go out there and the darts are coming at you. How do you say? That's just another one of God's creatures. I'm not going to cuss at him.
Just going to say, Terry, that going back to Abram.
This is our last point. The bell is rung. Yes, go ahead.
God told him what to do, and without question, he executed. What you're talking about is us executing, like going out and calling somebody through our words and through our actions. That's execution. That displays.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Just one person. Let's just go tell one person. And it can't be someone that's in the room right now. You gotta tell some. So Steve, you don't get to tell Denise. You got to tell somebody else. Denise knows already. All right? Thank you very much for your attention. Appreciate your time.